my mindset from the beginning, and I still stick to this, is failure was not an option. With that mindset of failure not being an option, you're going to grind. And for a period of time, you're probably going to turn into a loser. And what I mean by a loser, I mean socially. You have to lock in and focus on one thing. Partying's fun. Of course, I go out on the weekends, I have a good time, whatever. But that's because I'm at a position where I can now. But for that year's time of when I first started and didn't have an option to failure, I became a loser, and that's fine. Everyone has to do that at some point in their life. Would you rather do that now or when you're 35? That's up to you.
All right, guys. So today I have an extra special interview with my boy Mike. So listen, this one's going to be unique because Mike actually took a big leap of faith in starting with us before our business even had proof of concept. And it's why Mike is in the position that he's in today. So, Mike, just so you know, I'm very grateful to have you. I'm very happy that I reached out and that we met each other in the first place. I believe the universe works in weird ways and in interesting ways. And it's been quite the fucking journey over the last year and how many months? Year and four
Yeah, about
months,
a
something
year
like
and a half,
that.
maybe a little
Year
bit.
and a
Yeah,
half.
about a year and a half, about
Yeah.
that.
It's been
Yep.
about a year and a half. We've done some fucking crazy shit. We've done some crazy numbers. You've been a big part of the growth of our actual agency. So I want to talk about how you came into our sales coaching, how you got moved from our sales coaching program into actually getting a place in our marketing agency. Guys,
Yep.
just so you know, for some background, Mike joined our marketing agency when my brother and I launched it in our parents' basement. So that takes some blind faith. So that's gonna be, I guess, what the viewers might want to hear about a little bit. So, Mike,
For
if you
sure.
don't mind, just tell them about I guess where you're from, how old you are, your
Sure.
name, and then we'll go into some of your background.
Absolutely. So I'm Mike Mancusi from Freehold, New Jersey. Well, I guess the journey started, I guess, when I was working electric. So right out of high school, I became an electrician. Thought that was going to be my future, but I had some health issues prior that it just wasn't adding up. My body was definitely taking a hit when it comes to electric
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Still respect, of
Sure,
course, all the blue collar. It's definitely not the easiest thing to do. So,
sure.
respect to that. But did electric for about a year. Yeah, a little under a year, about 8 months to be specific. Decided that honestly, every day I was hating my life at that time, and I was looking at kind of other opportunities, and out of nowhere, Luke kind of really came into the picture. Now, myself and Luke, and of course Dario as well, we knew each other. We of course, played baseball together when we were younger. Always heard the name, knew each other, but were never very that.
Yeah,
Just were in the
exactly.
same circle.
Exactly. I don't mean to cut you off, Mike, but like
Of course, go ahead.
we kind of just knew of each other, but we never hung out in the same friend groups. I never really went to the same school as Mike until senior year when I friggin' dropped out in 3 weeks. So we never even like I don't recall even having really like a conversation with you
Yeah,
before
yeah,
just reaching out. So go ahead, you can pick that back
absolutely.
up.
100%. So to backtrack a little bit, just a little bit, when it came down to the health issue specifically, unfortunately, I had cancer when I was 18, senior year of high school, and we had a GoFundMe set up for myself. A couple of my friends set up a GoFundMe,
Yep.
and at the time, Luke, I believe, is working at the Skillet. So average job, obviously
I was
was
working, if you guys don't know what the skillet is, I was working just as a server at like a breakfast restaurant. This is before I even started the content creation business with my brother, before anything entrepreneurially came about. And at that point, I think I was making about 500 to $600 a week and I was 17.
right,
So,
right, 100%. So obviously at the time, he wasn't as successful or kind of in the position that he is today. But within the GoFundMe, I see, $1,000 kind of come about within the GoFundMe. And to me, that was like, wow, I knew this kid obviously didn't know him well, but, just out of the kind heart, he donated a decent amount of money and it, really opened my eyes. And of course, we ended up speaking a little bit. He dropped off a book at my house that, of course, was, informational, going through a tough time, stuff like that. Um, and then, of course, obviously, things went on from that. I went through the whole process. Then, to go forward a little bit
yeah.
more, started electric.
Mhm.
But to fast forward up until the point where I was just hating my life every day. I was
Well,
struggling.
the big win first is Mike beat cancer, and then he
Well, yeah, I guess so. We'll see.
and then he started this job as an electrician. You were working for a private company,
Right.
and I guess so you just weren't super happy with your job.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
yeah,
couldn't stand it. I
yeah,
just felt that honestly, my mindset was okay. I just beat cancer in a way. I feel like there's more for me. And like I
yeah,
said, not to hate on any of the blue collar, the utmost respect. It's definitely a tough career, tough job. But I just feel like I was meant for more. And around that time,
sure.
it's kind of when you reached out, ironically. And of course, we were going to start, I was going to start my own agency. and then kind of really assessing it and looking at it. And of course, speaking with you, it would have been pretty tough. Obviously, especially
Yeah.
right off the bat, it's definitely very rewarding, definitely possible. I just personally, in my opinion, didn't believe that I had the bandwidth to do it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So Luke made a great
Yeah.
offer to me, which essentially was joining the company as a sales rep, kind of getting to know the business. And of course, in the future, see whatever that takes you. But that's kind of where it really started from there. So about a
Yeah.
year and a half ago, honestly, Luke, if you really think about it, it's coming up in August is 2 years, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
but
It
I
is.
would say, a little bit over a year and a half now. But from the time that I started, of course, I became a cold caller. So the
Yeah.
first day that we, of course, hopped in the basement, we're actually calling real estate agents. We weren't even in the
Yeah,
venue
so
at
so
that
so so just to give you guys an idea, because I want to touch on blind faith for a quick second. So I think the reason me and Mike gelled is because just blatantly, when you go through cancer, you kind of need to have blind faith.
for
Like
sure.
I never had cancer, but for me, blind faith in business has been something that I always was about. And even for you, like when I saw you were going through a tough spot, I only had $2,000. So I gave Mike basically half my bank account at the time because I had blind faith that I was always going to be able to make more money. I just always felt an affinity to where there were bigger things coming for me. There were better things coming for me in my future. And that's always how I've primed my mind and I've geared my thoughts to be. And ironically, my reality kind of plays out that way too. And so does yours.
Sure.
So I live with a bit of blind faith. And I had a good feeling at that point that our marketing agency that we were building at the time, Del Priori Hospitality, what it is today, was going to be very successful. I had a feeling it was going to do very well. So, what I told Mike was instead of building your own marketing agency, take my sales program, learn the skill of sales, and then once you're good at sales, I think you'll make more money just as a salesperson working with me because I'll work out a commission structure where you could make really good money. And you said, fuck it, let's give it a shot. And again, at this point, we were literally still in my parents' basement. And if you guys don't know who Dario is, that's my brother. He was referencing Dario. My brother runs the service delivery side of our business. I run the sales side. And that's kind of the synergy that me and my brother have. But that's why Mike was mentioning my brother. But anyway,
Right.
like I was saying, that level of blind faith in general is something that I applaud you, bro, honestly, for just taking the leap. Because, with all due respect to a lot of the new guys that have joined our business, or even if someone joins our business now, there is proof of concept. There is people that have joined the business and made a certain dollar figure and an amount of money, but you deserve to make all the money you make today because you took a risk. And I always say, people in life that take no risk can achieve no reward
Mhm.
because if the guaranteed path straight is guaranteed, you know exactly what you're going to get. And again, it's no disrespect to the people that are working blue collar jobs and working hard. Some people don't want $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, and the headaches associated with that. Some
Right.
people want to make the guaranteed, I don't know, I don't even know how Trump just turned on this TV, but some people want the guaranteed $1,000 a week or whatever it may be with something that's stable, with something that's fixed, whatever it may be. And that's totally fine. But we we behave a little bit differently. So when I reached out, like I said, I had a good feeling that things were going to start going well with our agency. And I guess you can say with enough hard work and enough grit, things did start going well within our agency. And here we are. So
Yep.
basically, here's how it started. If you guys are familiar with the agency space, you know that you charge your clients a retainer fee monthly. Okay. So you charge them $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month for whatever you're selling them. It could be paid ads, content editing, whatever it may be. Okay. Within our business, we work with hospitality businesses. So think restaurants, hotels, things of that nature. So basic wedding venues. So Mike, I worked out a deal with him where I said, we're going to cold call, okay, together. And you're going to cold call businesses, for example, like these venues or restaurants or hotels, and your goal is to book a Zoom meeting with them. Every person that you book a Zoom with, if I close the deal on Zoom, I'll give you a commission. And at the time, we didn't even have an inbound sales team, which, by the way, Mike is now our top closer. But at this point, I was the friggin' closer. Hold on, I'm getting a call. At this point, I was the closer. So I told him, you set the appointment. I'm going to get on Zoom and I'm going to close the deal. And we're going to work together. And we're just going to have this synergy. And I'll give you a commission on every single deal that you close. And that's what we worked out. And that commission structure was anywhere, depending on the deal, between 10 all the way up to 30%, especially in the early days, because we had no proof of concept. You made your first lump sum of money through these cold calls that you were making, right? Because you were setting appointments and then I was closing the deal and you were making a commission on all the deals that you were closing.
Mhm.
And then you eventually kind of moved into inbound. So if you want to touch on that, I feel like, go
Yep.
ahead. Can you? balls in your court.
For sure, absolutely. So I believe if you want to, kind of give a range of numbers, I believe through cold calling specifically, just cold calling, I believe I made upwards from the commission structure.
Between 5 and 6 thousand, no?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's 6.5 to be exact.
Yep. Six and a half
And
thousand
then
dollars a month. Recurring, by the way. Recurring. Because that's how
yeah,
that's how our sales commission works in our agency, which by the way, you guys would not get elsewhere. And I can't hire everyone that watches these videos, obviously. But in our agency, you get recurring commissions, which you do not get in many other industries. Let's say this is a piece of real estate, okay? And you go sell a home and you're a real estate agent and you go sell $1 million house. You're not going to make any more money until you go sell another house. Now, the
mhm,
nice thing about working sales for an agency like ours, you go sell a marketing service to a local business, they need that marketing service every single month, right? Because they want to market their business monthly. You're going to get a check every single month on a commission on these deals that you've actually brought into the business. So you might be eating off a deal that you got a year ago. Mike is still making money now, recurring high ticket commissions on deals that he got well over a year ago. And that's the leverage part of this job position. But like you were saying, just through
mhm.
cold calls and me closing the deals, that's how you got to your first, we'll say between 5.5 and six and a
Sure.
half thousand dollars a month.
Right.
And as we started scaling and as we started bringing on more salespeople, I was literally sitting on Zoom all day doing all the sales calls, then trying to figure out tax structure issues and operations issues. My bandwidth was just fucked at a certain point. So I hit Mike up and I was like, yo, you're making these calls, but I think we have enough appointments right now to where I want you to learn inbound sales. And
Right.
then through the sales training that you got from our coaching program,
Mhm.
you knew how to close. And then
Exactly.
from there, you move seamlessly
Mhm.
into an inbound sales position, which is where you are today. And
Right.
if you feel comfortable, give
Mhm.
people an idea of what you're making today and what you think your trajectory. So you could tell them what you're going to make in the month of June
Mhm.
and then what you think you're going to be making 6 months from today.
Yeah, 100%. And just to kind of give you guys a little background, like we just said, between 5 to 6K through just cold calling. Now, keep in mind, I've only been closing officially, but consistently, I believe I started last July. So it's coming up on a year. And in
Yeah.
this past year, now, um, this month I should be at 13, and I would be pretty pissed if I don't hit 20 by September.
So
That's
third,
what's my
so
goal.
so $13,000 a month in the
Yeah.
month of June 2025.
Yes,
It's
sir.
fucking insane. We've come a long way from the basement. And at that point, our whole business altogether wasn't even pulling in fucking $13,000 a month.
Right.
Barely. It was barely scraping in that much money. And here we are. So Mike's seen the progression. We went from the basement to finally getting a fucking office to the apartments and the cars. And it's like it's crazy,
Yep.
bro, because it all happened pretty quick. And because we live in the same town, sometimes people look and they're like, what the fuck is like, what is going on there? Like, what are they
Oh,
scamming people? Are they
I think we're
fucking
criminals for sure.
are they drug dealers? Like people have no idea what's going on, and it's kind of funny. But a couple weeks ago, we bought our G Wagon. Obviously, we bought our Aston Martin last year. But again, like I was saying, bigger flex. You just got a nice ass car too. Mike just bought himself a sick ass Audi recently off the commissions that you fucking have started making through the agency. So I was telling Dan like that to me, and Dan, if you watch that interview, Dan is another student of ours. But that to me feels more rewarding than even seeing like, you know, us making money is cool. Obviously, I love making money, but building an infrastructure and seeing you make good money and you buy something nice, or even Sal, he just got one of his fucking cars that he wanted to get. Like you see those things happen, and it's like, okay, our whole business is flourishing because everyone in the company is eating. And that's what I want. And that's what I
Great.
want for people that are watching this too. But it's crazy. Like you lose sight of the progression, but then when you remember where you started to where you got to, I
Right.
mean, it takes blind faith and fucking grinding. How many hours a day were you coming into the basement every day that you were coming, especially in the early days?
So one of the things that I definitely want to touch on for the people that are watching this, especially, is because listen, when I transferred over from electric, okay, the first thing that they're going to notice is even though if you hate your life, okay, kind of like Luke mentioned before, it is stable income and everybody around you and they care about you, okay? You think and you're raised that they know best, meaning your parents and your family, especially when it comes to this realm of the new technology, a digital landscape of making money online, it's completely foreign to them. So
Yep.
no confidence for them in it, in a sense. All I heard was, "Oh,
Yeah.
what are you crazy? You're leaving a stable job. Electricians can make 200 grand a year." Now, listen, 200 grand a year is a lot of, it's definitely a decent amount of money. But what our thought process is that's going to take a minimum 10 years. I don't want that.
Maybe more. Maybe more. It
Or
could
more.
typically it takes if you look up statistically what electricians make, it's gonna unless you start your own company,
Right.
it's gonna take into your early 40s to see that kind of money if you ever see it. It's gonna take crazy hours, it's
Mhm.
physical labor. If you're okay with doing stuff like that, we commend the guys. Like we don't hate on
Absolutely.
people that want to work that kind of job. I have no issue with that. Not everyone can do what we do,
Right.
but you have to understand like there's a reason why we get paid in massive dividends at such a young age. And that's why people can't really fathom what we're doing because it's uncommon to make as much money as we do at such a young age, you
Yeah,
know?
100%. And listen, I just my thought process is listen, this economy is definitely interesting now in a negative way. I don't want my wife to have to work. I don't want my
Yeah.
kids to, go through financial struggles. I
Hmm.
want to be able to attend to them and, not retire. I don't think I'll ever retire, but be with them
Yeah.
and the prime of their life, high school and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
this one, especially when you're working off of your laptop, I mean, this is literally my workspace right here. Oh,
Yeah.
where I'm talking to you. You have the freedom to do a lot more stuff, the freedom to make a lot more
Yeah.
money. I'm fully on commission. There's no base, but that means your ceiling is a lot higher. So
Uh-huh.
the whole point is, and where I want to go back to is if you're going to take a risk, take it between the ages of 18 or 17 for some people, or even younger, up until the point of, in my opinion, around that 25. Now you still can take
Yeah.
it point, but up in that little age range right there, you're
You have
still living
almost no
with your parents.
expense. You have almost no
Exactly.
expense.
You're still living with your parents. You're still on their health care. You're still on their insurance. Those are the prime of the years to take a risk. Where if you fall
And
flat on your face,
yeah.
you're still fine.
Yep.
You're good.
And guys, you have to understand when you're young, they might hold that stuff over your head. Oh, get a stable job because you're on my insurance and I cover this for you and I cover that for you. Sometimes you guys need to understand that in life, you can't let anyone else narrate what you need to do. At the end of the day, only you know what's best for you. And if you think that it's appropriate to take a risk, take the fucking risk. At the end of the day, you know what's one guarantee that we all have to face? We're all going to have to leave this planet at some point or another. We're all going to die. And in 100 years, the reality is, as fucked up as it sounds too, no one's going to talk about you. Nobody cares. People are going to move on and live their own life. So if you think that for your lifetime, you're going to live a better quality of life if you can work remote because you want to travel, you want to make money online, you want to have time for your family and friends, then what's the real risk? What's a bigger risk? Is it a bigger risk to spend a little bit of money on learning how to actually sell and getting a really good sales position for a company? Or is it a bigger risk going and spending 4 years sitting in a college class learning infinitely stupid information, which by the way, I have college students now that work for me and I'm a high school dropout. So let's break that down. Well, why don't you go work for someone else that graduated college? Because it doesn't matter. After college, it doesn't matter. What you've actually done is what matters, and what's actually going to pay you is what actually matters. So you guys have to understand the real risk is not taking any risk at all, especially if you're someone that knows what kind of life you want. If you know what you want and you really know what you want, and if you want to make money online, and if that's one of the main things that's in this pot of what we'll say is your dream life, then why would you listen to anyone that's telling you anything other than what's in that pot? You cannot take advice from people that are not in the position that you want to be in. And it could sound selfish, it could sound messed up, it doesn't matter. Even if that person is your parent telling you, hey, listen, I don't think you should be doing this. It's okay to say, listen, mom, dad, I love you, but this is what I want to do. And this is what I need to do. And I need space for the next 6 months so that I can lock in, so I can put this work in, so that I can get on my own 2 feet and start making good money. And realistically, you were dealing with that. I was dealing with that. I always tell the funny story. When I first started our company, one of the things that my dad said was, I was telling him, I'm going to get rich. Give me 3 years. I'm going to get rich. I have videos telling my mom, I'm going to be able to retire you. Give me 5 years. And my dad goes, not a dollar has hit your checking account yet. Now, he didn't mean anything like ill will by it. I love my dad. He's a great dude. But he meant like, yeah, okay. Like
Prove it.
we'll see. Because again, because they haven't ever seen anything like this happen. If I told it was a goal of mine when I was 21. Excuse me, it was a goal of mine when I was 16, 17. I told my dad when I first started working at the ice cream shop and at the breakfast spot, I figured, okay, if I work here for the next 4 years and I make $50,000 a year living at home, by the time I'm 21, I could have $160,000 saved. And now I've spent over fucking 300 grand in cars and like it's crazy. Like the way life works when you expand what's actually possible and when you're open to things and when you stop hating on people that have money and when you stop having such a closed mind and you're so sheltered off to other info, the way your world expands, you can't even fucking like Mike. The fact that we're here is ridiculous, bro. You can't even fucking fathom. Can't
Yeah.
even fathom.
100%, 100%. It definitely, it doesn't feel real in a sense when it comes to certain periods, honestly, for sure. And I think one thing that we've definitely learned is, listen, at the end of the day, listen, all the material stuff is great. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
cool. Number one, everyone gets hold of it. What we personally believe, and we've talked about
Yeah.
this, is really sharing the wealth with other people in a sense of doing stuff for other people. That feels so much better. 100
Experiences, bro.
experience.
Experiences.
1000%. And all the material stuff it's cool. We love it. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Cars are a ton of fun, but experiences and making enough money where you can increase the quality of your experiences is, in my opinion, and I know you agree with that too, is
100%.
it's stuff you can't change for sure.
Bro, in our company too, like we're big into health and like everyone, like we try to make sure everyone's like eating clean, even when like we're in the office and in the apartment and whatnot. And it's just like we operate with a certain level of vigor and intensity that you need to. You know what I mean? And it's just like you can't access good health care without money. You can't access fucking vitamins or clean food without money. So if money's a mechanism, why not have a good vehicle to make the money that actually serves you? And that's what we talk about all the time. And yeah, bro, it's truly a blessing. So one question I have for
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
So you said you're making about 13,000 a month these days. You're on pace to be making about 20,000 a month. Um, Within we'll say 6 months, whatever that time frame might look like. What would you tell someone looking to get into our sales program to learn how to run a marketing agency if they're hesitant?
If they're hesitant. Well, the first thing that I would do, because this is what I did, and this is just from my experience, because that's all I can really give knowledge on, in my opinion, um, ethically, is very other options. When I was at the point where I made the switch, I looked at all my other options, um, and there weren't too many at all.
Hmm.
It was three options: keep doing electric, torture myself, break down my body, and maybe get to that $200,000 per month in 10, or like we said, more years. Be a bum and absolutely do nothing and go work a regular job and just never be set for life,
Yeah,
or take the risk where there's no ceiling. Yes, it was 100% a risk, especially kind of with our in our aspect, but now of course there's proof of concept, but so
exactly.
even less of a risk than what we took.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you joined with, I was going to say, with no one having the proof of concept that they even made $10,000, $12,000 a month or serious money that could feed a family. But now, for everyone that's watching this, to me, it's like, what the fuck is like, it should be a no-brainer at this point to learn the
You just
skill
have
of
to put the work
sales.
in. That's it.
Yeah, you just have to put the work in. But once you learn that skill of sales, how to appointment set, how to close, once you
Right.
learn all these things, bro, you
Yep.
could transfer that to any industry. Like, bro, if we wanted to hop into real estate next year, we could probably do it. If we wanted to start an insurance agency next year, we could probably do it because we have the systems and we have the sales skill and the ability, and that translates to any industry. So, learning that skill in general at some point in your life, I believe for men should be mandatory, right? Like,
Yep.
I think you should just know how to sell because if you're a good communicator, you'll probably do better with your wife, you know? Like you'll probably do better with your family. You'll probably do better with relationships in general. So I would advise everyone learns the skill of sales and communication in general. You know, why is this not talked about more in college? Why is no one leaving college knowing how to close deals? Why is no one leaving college knowing how to appointment set and make a quality introduction? They don't even learn these skills. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. And you pay all this money and you learn absolutely shit. That's a bigger risk. That's a bigger risk.
Yep.
And we also know people that have graduated pretty prestigious colleges that literally applied to hundreds of jobs in the field that they studied that can't get hired. So what's happening to these degrees? The value is getting diluted. It's going like this. And even business owners like myself that hire people, when I hire, I actually prefer someone that's fresh out of high school that doesn't even want to go to college because I understand the mentality of that person. I understand that they don't have what I call a fucking slave mind. They're
Yep.
not, they don't have the mentality of, oh, what's the base pay? The base pay is your guarantee that you're never going to make more than fucking 70 grand a year. And little by little, year over year, I might give someone $1,000 pay bump a year or $1,000 pay bump a month or whatever it may be. But the way you unlock earning an extra 2,000, 2,500 a month in income is through sales. And if you're too lazy to start or too scared to start, what can I really tell you? You have to take that leap of faith. I'm making money because I took a leap of faith. Mike is making money because he took a leap of faith. If you take a leap of faith, you can kill it. And everyone that I know that does well, everyone that I see that's successful, that is earning the kind of money that they want to earn, do they work at Walmart? Like, just wake the fuck up. Just wake up. And if these people that are looking for jobs now, from a hiring perspective, business owners like myself, don't even care to look at degrees anymore, why are you still going? Why are you still going? When I need to hire someone for back end work because I need someone to build something in a CRM, I'm not like, where did you graduate? I don't give a fuck. I'm like, share your screen and show me what you can do.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. And you didn't go to school? Okay, bet. Well, the pay is this much per hour if you didn't go to school, and the pay is also this much per hour if you did go to school. So I had no objection to hiring you for not having a degree because I barely even have my fucking GED, you
Well,
know?
listen, fun fact, and you've taken over 100 plus Zoom calls, inbound calls, and I've taken probably climbing up on 90 or whatever that may be. I've
Mhm.
never been asked what college which college I've ever been to or where
I've
I've
been asked once, and I
been.
told the story of how, I started the business and that was it, and I
Mhm.
closed the deal. They didn't care. Like, why does it matter, guys? It has no relevancy. It really has no relevancy, especially if you're getting into sales, you
And
know?
especially B2B as well. Because if you're doing B2B sales, most of these owners didn't go to college themselves. Now
Yep.
that varies depending on the industry and the niche that you're going to be targeting, but a lot of these successful people, like, a ton of them. Yeah, I can't even name all of them.
We work
Did,
with a bunch of restaurant and hotel owners, and it's like very one-off to see one of them that actually went to school.
oh yeah,
And
for
these are
sure.
guys that make millions of dollars a year, millions. Now, this is one other thing that I wanted to ask you, Mike. Okay.
Sure.
Why get into a business to business type sales job, like being part of a marketing agency, as opposed to selling someone's course offer? You know what I mean? Like, say someone's selling a course and you're the closer for their course. Why do you think that B2B for an agency like ours is a better opportunity than something like that? If you
Well,
think that.
for sure. Listen, I 100% do, and I think it could set you up for the future. If you start for B2C, which is, of course, business to consumer, us being the business and the person that you're selling to being the consumer, I mean, that's a lot easier in a sense, okay? Because if you're selling B2B, business to business, you're dealing with sales reps themselves. That's their job. They're business.
Yep.
They've been selling their whole life. They have to sell their product to a customer. So if you could sell to the business, you're set. I mean, B2C is
Yeah.
gonna be very, very, very easy. So you
Yeah.
have to prove and you have to also study a product and have it structured where you have to learn your product in a sense of what you're trying to sell to them, how it's
Right.
going to benefit them, and of course, show a proof of concept on a 30-day basis for us at least. And that's why I think our offer is so great.
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing is actually working. So
Exactly.
not only are you selling, but you also have to show and prove to them what you're doing is actually working, or else they're not going to.
Bingo. Yeah.
So if you could sell to
Yep.
B2B, you could sell B2C. Easy.
Yeah. And I also believe too within B2B, the commissions are higher because you're selling something typically it's higher ticket when you're selling it to a business.
That as well. Yep.
And when you're selling course products and things of that nature to consumers, you're not going to get the benefit of recurring revenue for the most part. If you're selling someone's course offer for 7,000, right? Let's say you're selling someone's course offer that's $7,000, which by the way, if you buy a $7,000 course, you're probably already balling. Okay. I bought an $18,000 course. I'm not trying to flex, but I'm fucking balling. All right. So like if you're buying a course that's that expensive, and even if your commission on the one-time fee is 10%, $700 is 10% of 7,000. Now, I'm not saying a $700 commission isn't nice. It's good money. But let's say you close a deal a day, Monday to Friday. That's 3,500 bucks a week. Times four is $14,000 a month. Hey, it's more money than Mike, right? But let's think about this. How much money is he going to make next month if he doesn't sell?
Right.
None.
I could
So
disappear off the face of the earth and still be getting paid the same amount of money.
there you go. Well, I have guys that have actually left our business to go pursue things outside of it. I have a guy from Canada whose name is Marco, who I'll probably set up an interview with, that is still making $1,600 a month on a recurring commission that he got a year ago.
One deal,
So
bro.
one deal. So his commission on that deal has probably been at this point, I've paid him over $15,000. One fucking deal. One deal. Okay. So I want you guys to understand, like, you can actually, I just dropped my pen. You can actually kill it inside of sales. You just need to have a good offer. You need to be part of a good company and you need a good culture and a good work ethic of people that you're working around. And as biased as I am, I really don't think that anyone on the internet has structured an offer better than I have for their salespeople. I don't think anyone pays their people better than I pay our salespeople as a whole. And I don't think that anyone has as much room to scale because we give lifetime recurring commissions, which you're not getting in any other industry, maybe other than insurance. And it's significantly lower ticket. You're not going to make $1,000 a month on a residual policy as an insurance sales rep. It's just not going to happen. But that's possible inside of marketing. So, Mike, I really appreciate it, bro. Last thing that I want to give you is, I guess, one last question I want to ask for you
Sure.
is what would be your biggest piece of advice? Like, one big takeaway that you would give to someone going from someone who was just a broke kid, kind of lost, not knowing what to do from, with their career, to now someone that is even aspirational. People could look at you and be like, oh shit, Mike's doing really well. Like,
Yeah,
what advice would you give to yourself a year and a half ago?
hmm,
Just getting started.
for sure. Well, my mindset from the beginning, and I still stick to this, is failure was not an option. Okay. There's a lot of growing to do. I'm not where I want to be. But especially in the beginning, failure was not an option. It just wasn't on the plate. It didn't exist.
Hmm.
So having that mindset, that's all you thought about. And I think another very important thing that I'm sure you've probably experienced it to some extent, but it's very, very true, is with that mindset of failure not being an option, you're going to lock in, you're going to grind, and for a period of time, you're probably going to turn into a loser. And what I mean by a loser, I mean socially. You have to lock in and focus on one thing. And if
Yeah.
you're focusing on a bunch of things, like, listen, partying's fun. Of course, I go on the weekends, I have good time, whatever. But that's because I'm at a position where I can now. But for that year's time of when I first started and didn't have an option to failure, I became a loser. And that's fine. Everyone has to do that at some point in their life. Would you rather do that now or when you're 35? That's up to you. But
Yeah.
you're going to lose people in that
Yeah.
journey. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's a blessing. In the
Yeah.
moment, it sucks. But if they're not willing to stay through that tough time, I promise you it's a blessing. And you're going to
Yeah.
realize at a certain point. Okay.
100%. It's a
Again,
short
those
term,
people.
it's a short term sacrifice for a very long term dividend. If someone's not okay with you locking in for a year, be it friends, family, doesn't matter, for, a situation like that, then it's not even, it's kind of like beating a dead horse. But bro, of course I went through the same thing. Dario and I had to lock in from the ages of literally 17 to where we're at now. And now just now basically we're starting to actually find some free time to go get dinner on the weekend and actually like enjoy some of the fruits of our labor while sustaining the hard work that we're putting in. But for that first year and a half, 2 years, when you're in the early days of a business, you better lock the fuck in. Like there's no other choice because it's like first off, you don't have money to spend on the fucking weekend. You have
Right.
to figure out so many different complex issues and headaches that it's like you just need to lock in. And you did lock in, and here we are, and now I guess we're doing it, Mike. I guess you made it. So we'll see. So much more success in the future. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this all takes us, but
Dude,
that's about it.
it's been a
Any
pleasure.
any final remarks for the viewer?
Any final remarks? I mean, like I said, weigh your options. Where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years?
Sure.
That's what you have to think about. Realistic.
Exactly.
Like I said, for people that leave, fine. Don't get discouraged. Okay. Because everyone that first goes through it, they'll get discouraged. I'm warning you, don't. It's a blessing. And everybody successful that you look up to, they've lost people through it. Okay.
Sure.
That's a big thing because listen, it messes with people's head, but it's a blessing. I promise you, and it's going to be worth it, 100%. So give it a shot.
Dope. Appreciate it, Mike. And I'll talk to you, bro. Thank you so much.